We'd like to thank our sponsor, iZotope, the absolute leaders in design plugins for audio restoration, mixing, and mastering. At iZotope.com, you'll find a plethora of tools and suites that will enhance your audio production, whether it's voice, video, podcast, or a full production recording session. Check out the industry standard audio repair tool RX11, the multi-tool mixer plugin Neutron 5, or the powerful Ozone 11 mastering suite, plus tons more. Go to iZotope.com, use code FRET10 at checkout for 10% off. That's iZotope.com, and the code is FRET10, FRET10.
DistroKid now also has a motherfucking app.
The DistroKid app is available for iOS and Android.
You can now get an additional 30% off if you go to distrokid.com/VIP/cult. That's distrokid.com/VIP/cult.
Or you can get it in the App Store.
Okay. All right. We're rolling.
Rolling.
Planet P
Presents
Cult and Culture Podcast.
Welcome to episode 56 of the Cult and Culture Podcast. I'm Justin Pearson.
And I'm Luke Hinshaw.
This is Captain. This episode features the director and actor of Fucktoys.
Writer,
actor, of Fucktoys. Annapurna Sriram.
So my tooth, it fell out of my mouth.
Oh my God, child.
So what does that mean exactly?
I mean, it means that you have a curse on you, honey.
I'm sorry. I think you just said, did you say curse?
I did. A curse.
Like a real curse?
Like someone cursed the shit out of you.
What? Yo! Oh my God. I thought you died. I wanted to get a second opinion
About the curse.
A big, sexy curse.
You're fine. She's not fine. What'd you say? I'm just robbing him, but we're leaving right now.
It's exotic. What are you?
I'm a hoe.
What? Ew. You want to swim?
Duh.
Whoa, trash kids.
Trash kids.
I love trash.
No, I love trash.
And you're gonna love me.
I think it is one of my favorite movies.
Wow,
I really think it's a fucking fantastic film.
that is great.
Opening scene, Big Frida's in it. I'm just like, what's up? And then it was filmed in New Orleans. I like New Orleans a lot. Man, this podcast is crazy because I really already loved the film, and then meeting her and getting really into the minutia of what went into the film, I think really changed a lot of stuff for me.
Yeah. As well, aesthetically, it looked fucking beautiful, and the actors are all great.
Yeah.
It's dope.
I mean, so there's so many. Well, for one, I think like the topic is there's a bunch of layers to this. So I think it's called a dark comedy, blaxploitation. Well, I don't know, but to me, there's like just tons of social and political commentary in it, and it's done in such a humorous and I don't know. It's very articulate in like what the message is, but it's not overbearing. I think that it's rad how it portrays sex workers. Also, like it taps into like classism. I don't know, gender norms, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Sadie Scott did a really great job.
Yeah.
And Damien?
I forgot his name.
Fuck, that was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. Every person that's in this film does such a fantastic job. I think that Annapurna knocked it out with the cast, and also too, like, not to keep like
and the set design.
The set design is like
It's
the
fucking-
craziest thing.
yeah.
You can see it in every scene where there's just so many little details. Yeah, it's like an artistic. I don't know. It's an artistic piece aside from like the storytelling.
Yep. It was also cool, like, to hang out with her outside of the podcast and outside, like, to get to know not just her, but all the other directors, and like kind of just getting to know them and seeing where they're coming from. And it's like knowing her, you'd be like, yeah, she would make a movie like this, make this movie. And I give her a lot of credit because she was the only filmmaker that brought her fucking merch and had a merch table set up and had her hustle going. And I was like, fuck yeah.
On that note, I think like that's an interesting thing because in the film she really did pay so much attention to the set design, which ties into merch. You know, like a lot of
colors.
Yeah. But a lot of people I don't think like hone in on like merchandising, and I think it's cool how she did it, and she hustled it herself. I think it was rad.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many things about her and her film that I really just it did it for me. It was like one of my favorite films of that. So yeah, this is part 2. Sorry, we should have fucking said this too, of our 5-part series of the Oak Cliff Film Festival podcast that we did when we were there, the 2025 Oak Cliff Film Festival. So yeah, anyhow, there's that.
Yeah.
We're both like movie dorks too, so it was fucking cool to do this whole thing, but also just to again dive into this film specifically, and then the conversation that you're about to experience goes directions that I wasn't expecting, and I think it's awesome. So like, yeah, just shout out to everybody that's associated with this film. I think that if when this comes out, it won't be streamable yet, but you should put it on your radar and see the film. It's such a fantastic movie. And then on that note, I would like to say what's up to my friends at Low Level, LOLLVL, who make awesome shirts. They hooked me up with this Talking Heads shirt. Check out their site. I just go to Instagram like normal people and fucking go from there. But they do a bunch of rad shit.
That's the new normal.
Yeah, unfortunately for some of us. But yeah, Low Level, I want to say what's up. Thank you for the shirt. And I don't know, we hope you enjoy this. We'll see you on the other side.
Yep. Late.
My name is Annapurna Sriram. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I currently live in Los Angeles, and I'm a filmmaker.
Right on.
Can we talk about your filmmaking resume?
Yeah, it's very short.
Okay.
It's just Fucktoys.
Yeah.
Oh, and shit, this is your first one, too.
But how did that happen? Like,
That's my first movie.
You came out of the gate. It's fucking bullshit. Because, like, my first record was garbage. You know, it took a minute.
I went to acting school, so I was, like, a trained actor. I spent, almost 10 years as, like, a working actor in New York. I did theater. I did some TV. I did some indie films. So I sort of had, like...
the knowledge.
I had, like, the basics of storytelling and, like, dramaturgy and, like, narrative structure. And then I also just had all this experience on, like, really small film sets where I could kind of see how do you make something with a small budget, and how do you, like, problem solve with a small budget. And then I was also on a lot of sets where I was like, why isn't there more design happening? Like, why isn't there more, like, decision making around the aesthetics or the style?
You nailed it.
And so, yeah, that's like I think production design is like it's like the first to be cut on, like, an indie film. And I think that that's actually, like, a superpower to a movie, is, like, if you have really strong production design, that's, like, such a ticket for just, like, making your movie, like, stand apart and have, like, a singular look and have, like, really, like, just, like, decision making behind it.
We were talking about that the
Yeah.
night. Yeah, I love the usage of the colors, like we were discussing, like the matching outfit with the plate in the diner,
Yes.
the Band-Aids, all the different Band-Aids with the blood.
Yes.
It's really unique.
Yeah, I think that, like, color palette, I kind of have this, like, even though my movie, which is called Fucktoys, is, it's this sort of like romp in a fictional place called Trash Town, and every scene is sort of like a different movie set, like a different movie that we're walking into, a different style. I feel like what's really useful is like creating rules for yourself, so then you can sort of like create a guidebook on everything being cohesive, so it feels like really chaotic and sort of infinite in choice, but actually it's all contained in like a really strict palette. So my color palette, which I pulled from the Rider-Waite tarot cards, was red, green, yellow, baby blue, and baby pink. And that was like it. And I was basically like, these are the colors we use, and like black in some cases, but like this is what we play in. And just like keeping it really strict to that was like kind of key for like keeping the vision like contained, so it doesn't just get too like out of control and off the rails. And then using the tarot as like iconography or inspiration for like a set or a costume, where it's like, this character is this card, so just look at the card and pull from it. If there's pomegranates, put pomegranates on the set. If there's a lobster, like throw a lobster in there. If there's like the angels playing a trumpet, like put a bunch of cherubs in the scene, like just like pulling it so that there's like some direction in what could otherwise be like a very like directionless, like chaotic mess. But that was like that kind of helped me ground it in like one like shared vision so that it feels like it's all the same movie.
The visuals were hands down amazing. Every scene I was like, holy shit. And there's probably a lot that I missed, but just I could tell like that you put so much attention to detail, which I was like, this is sick. I don't want to derail.
God,
I don't want to derail this.
you.
Yeah. I don't want to derail this right away, but like the start of it,
you can derail us.
The start of it with Big Frida was great, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this film right after that. And so shout out to Big Frida.
Yes.
Why did you
Queen
shoot it?
Diva.
Well, okay, before we get into it, but so. Why'd you shoot it in New Orleans?
So we sort of filmed it outside New Orleans. Because I'm from Tennessee. So I felt like the world of the movie was this like nostalgic memory of like my childhood in Tennessee and sort of the way the South looked in the 90s, which still had so much like leftovers from like the 50s and 60s. And, it still felt very like pre-millennium. You'd go to your friend's house and it still felt like you were in this like time warp. And then there was like little soda shops and these little like dive bars, and like things just still felt really sort of like from the past.
Dated, but like retro.
Yes. Yeah. Dated, but then it also still felt present because you're a teenager. So you're like, this is just what my world looks like. And now that we're like in the era of just like gentrification everywhere, all those little sort of nooks and crannies are like disappearing and turning into like condo buildings. So I wanted it to have not only that sort of like Southern Americana decay, but then I also wanted it to be like sweaty and lush and like not like a Mad Max future that's like dusty like the desert.
It
but
definitely has that post-apocalyptic
but kind of this like sweaty, lush, like the overgrownness is coming back. In this like this like blown out like post-apocalyptic world.
The what is it, a scooter, a motorcycle,
this like moped?
That thing seemed like, I don't know, like just oddly
1940s
like fucked up. And then
it's a Cushman too, which is like this brand that they made in like the 50s and 60s, and then this company, and I think it's Orange County, bought the blueprints and then they started reproducing them. And so we found it, and we were just like looking for a baby blue one, and then there was one being sold used in Tampa, and we just like drove and bought it.
That's great.
For like $2,500, and then we like airbrushed it. It's at my parents' house right now.
There's a gang in my neighborhood that drive those around.
The Cushmans?
Yeah, and it's crazy because I was like, yo, these bikes are sick, and they're like, just get one, bro, and you could join our gang. And I'm like, I would love to, but I'm also
I have one you can ride. It's baby blue and it has horses on it.
Fucking sick. They would be psyched. It's all these like little thug kids that are just like.
I know,
racing
and
them.
the Cushman too feels like World War II era,
It
kind
does,
of like it has this sort of like Bond, like Alps, like you could imagine it. Yeah. So I was like, I wanted the moped to not just feel like a Vespa or like Roman Holiday, but to feel like hyper specific too.
Before we get too far into the film dialogue that we've been talking about, like, can you just give like a synopsis of it?
Yes.
Unfortunately, when this comes out, people will not be able to see it for quite a while.
Yeah.
So I want to like grab that.
Yeah. So the movie is about a girl who lives in Trash Town, which is this like magical alternate universe pre-millennium place. I think of it as like it's like my childhood or like nostalgia of like the pre-millennium world before technology took over.
So like what year kind of?
To me, it's this like mix of like the 50s through the 90s, and different scenes take on different decades, or they have different like they draw from different decades. But it is this like mix of. It's also like a lot of homage to like cinema, which are from like all the different decades. And so the lead girl of the movie, she kind of has an obsession with psychics, and she sees a psychic because she's dealing with, I think existential stress that I think a lot of people can relate to, especially those of us living in like, neoliberalism. And the psychic basically tells her, you're cursed, but it's okay because I can lift it for $1,000. And we just have to sacrifice this baby goat. So just bring us like a baby lamb and $1,000 and we'll do this ceremony. So she goes off on her quest to make $1,000 and then get a baby goat so that she can lift this curse. And so, the movie, in my opinion, examines a lot of class politics and then also just like labor politics and exploitation and sort of like, living in capitalism and just like the exploitation of labor. So anyways, but it's a comedy. So she goes into the night to make her money. She's a sex worker. She's literally renting her body for labor. And, things keep going wrong, which I think reinforce this idea of there being a curse. And she meets an old friend who they kind of have a crush relationship, and they go on this adventure through Trash Town where they just meet a bunch of different characters and the different archetypes. Oh, here's my music, my score for the storytelling.
That came in very nicely. So for the viewer, listener, there's a band doing sound check.
Downstairs. And we love it. But the movie has like, in my opinion, sort of a like After Hours or Pee-wee's Big Adventure sort of journey. And where you meet a lot of characters and they're only there for like one moment and then they move on to the next scene. And, I really hope that the movie grapples with like this question of like, what is the curse? And like, is it magical? Is it the systems that we live in? Is it being a woman? Is it being a brown person? Is it being trans? Like, what does it actually mean? Like, what are these curses that feel very personal, when you're existing in this reality that we're currently in? And you feel like, God, everything's just working against me. And like my life, I just can't get ahead. And like shit's fucking hard. Like something like there must be something inherently wrong with me, which is how I felt and still feel a lot of the time. And then sort of zooming out and wondering like, is this just life? And is this just like the life that we're in? And we're all like cursed by it. So Big Frida has a line where she says, where do you think this curse came from? And she says, it be like that. It just be like they're a curse on Trash Town City. And I think that that's like the answer personally. But I also think it's open for interpretation and audiences people should like have their own experience with it. But that's like the movie in a nutshell, would you say?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yes. And the curse would be like you said, like life in general, but like also talking about all the inequalities that I think you're facing in America, you know. So those are things that I think all kind of come to play.
Yeah. And her like companion on her journey is a trans person who's
so badass.
So like super hot heartthrob, like young River Phoenix looking, like, they capture like my Achilles heel of like attraction of like a punk boy that's like a trash punk boy that you're gonna take care of and like love, and even though they're like homeless basically.
Also too, like obviously no one's seen it, but the scene where they introduced that character just, like, in a brutal fight,
they're in like a fight club where they're like laughing and being like punched in the face,
super rough, like
the lover and the fighter. There's sort of this like yin yang of each other, and I think that like what I love about that character too is it was originally written for a boy. It was written for this boy that I was like obsessed with, and I just like, he wanted to be an actor, and he was this like punk boy from Chicago, and I was just like, yes, I'll like write a movie and we'll like make out in the movie. And then like our little fling ended, and and he was then like, I can't be in your movie, and I was like, it's fine, you're too chaotic, you're too much like the real character.
Well, he fucked up.
But so then when I was casting it, I was like, you know what, I don't really just want to do this movie with like a cis boy as much as I love like Johnny Depp in Crybaby or Matt Dillon in Drugstore Cowboy or like all these, Willem Dafoe in The Loveless, like that's sort of like iconic, like punk greaser look. I was like, I just think that's a little played out for 2020, and maybe I should just cast a girl and lean into more of like a Bound type, like hot girl on girl, like Thelma and Louise, like sexy romance. And then
you nailed it.
Then when Sadie auditioned, they were just like, I'm non-binary now, like I'm going through this transition and this is who I am. And I was like, that's fucking sick, because
that's the future.
And also like this character sort of, to me, is like identityless. Like they can be anyone, and it has more to do with the soul of the actor being like the right sort of temperament for this character. And Sadie just embodied this swagger and this boyishness and this like sex appeal, and also this innocence and this just like beauty, because they also like symbolize innocence in this way, and they're like raw, pure form.
But they're also just like, it sucks because the people that are gonna be hearing this don't know, but like there's this scene where she goes
there,
or where they go to they go to the like the James Franco character, just like starts fisting them.
I try and get them a job. They're like coming out of prison, and they're like, their PO calls, and they're like, I need a job. And so I try to get them like a sex working job, and then I just send them in with like a celebrity client.
But
they're just like gonna fist him. They're like, whatever.
But they're just like, let's just do this.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck?
There's like no planning. They're just like, whatever. And then they're also like, their characters in like a male prison before the movie. I didn't change the script at all from like casting a male to a non-binary actor. I just like left the script exactly the same. It was like, just you're a boy. Like the world doesn't know what you are in this movie.
And then like, also in that context, again, people have not seen this yet. The final scene, that character comes full circle where it's like they're like gender is like not even important. They are this other.
They are
element or entity.
They're angel, alien,
whatever.
In some ways, I think of them as like an alien that's like leaving, that's like finished the mission of the Earth mission and is like going back home. I also think they're like an angel, and I also think they're kind of like, they could in some interpretation not be real, and they represent like the like the id of my character, and that it's like the innocence, the death of innocence. They're like this sort of magical
death of innocence for your character.
Yeah, like they're sort of this like inner raw energy that like my character can't express because she has to like perform all the time, and she's sort of stuck in this like very like gendered performative fetish of herself to everyone, and that like she's just there to be projected upon as like whatever the fantasy is in some ways. That's deep. Deep for the listeners who won't see
when you both are leaving the house and they hug. I was like, oh shit, just that side of her or
them. Just like there's this tenderness there in them that's like that exists despite the sort of chaotic, violent, punk, like in your face side, that there's this like genuine person.
I think the two characters too, yours and theirs, there is that like, I mean, because your character isn't soft, like because they're a sex worker and they're tough in the world, but they're feminine and like I don't even know what the word is. Like
they're like playful and like
but like well but I mean like I don't know what the right word is. Where like the other character's like rough, but they're both like loving, and I don't know. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of depth.
She's like, my character's like self-possessed and like is like confident.
Yeah.
But
your character's very beautiful and pretty, where the other character's like always bloody. It always looks like they're just out of battle.
Well, the thing is, Sadie is like very attractive and like in a very like distracting way, where you're just like, this is a very hot person I'm looking at. And so we were like, I was like, I have to like fuck them up, because
to a lot of people that is attractive as well.
And I think it's still no, they think they're still hot. But like I was like, I want to give you this like mullet haircut and like blood and bruises so that you feel more tough and just like grimy, because without makeup they're just like stunning.
Without makeup, like blood.
Bloody makeup without the like bruising makeup.
Like makeup, like
no,
lipstick,
like just without the like bloody makeup, they're like just a stunning face to look at. That you're kind of like, damn, that's a statue.
Here's some blood.
And also like, I would like to just acknowledge it. Like, I think having trans folks in the film is very important in this new era that we're in, especially with the current administration and the political climate, sociopolitics. I think it's really rad. Obviously, the film is made towards people that are fucking cool and they're gonna be able to handle that shit. But I think the more of it that like kind of normalizes that lifestyle,
absolutely,
is very, very important.
I also think that it's like really powerful for Sadie's character to be the love interest, essentially. That like, this is a movie that could just be like, true romance, right? Where it's like a cis hetero couple where it's like the guy and the girl and they're just hot. And
even on that, you're driving the bike where normally
it's like kind of all inverted. But I think that there's something like extra special that like not only is the like heartthrob, dreamy, sex icon character a trans person, they get to just exist as the heartthrob. They don't also have to carry a narrative around having to also like explain their identity.
So like
they get to just be like, I'm just the heartthrob and I'm trans.
Because normally it would be switched around.
I don't think a lot of scripts have like opened up in a way where they're like, okay, we have like a mass presenting, sexy character. Let's just cast a trans guy, let's cast a non-binary person who carries all of this. I think there's still like, people feel scared and like they have to explain that. Like they have to then like explain it to the audience about like the identity of this character, which I do think is also important. But I think that it's even cooler that this movie gets to exist for trans people, for all queer people, where you're just like, the sexy character just happens to be trans and it's like fucking sick. And the same is true in a way for my character. It's slightly different where, I like grew up in Tennessee. I did like theater. I loved all these like campy movies and cult movies growing up, but there was never any like brown girl in any of these movies. Like the movies that I had were like Bend It Like Beckham or like Mississippi Masala. And then all of the characters that I loved in cinema were all white women. And so I felt like as an actor, it was also really challenging for me because so much of the like opportunities that I would be given or offered were sort of like, oh, you're like, you can play the Muslim character or the doctor or the nurse. And I felt like
never the lead.
And also just like, I can't just be the American girl character that's just like the hot one or the sexy one or just like the ingenue. Like I'm always like sort of a side character or it's like a character where the main focus is like this identity or this religion that I don't even identify with.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what business do I have playing like an Afghani Muslim character or an Iranian Muslim character or an Egyptian character?
Yeah.
I'm from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Can I just be on Nashville? So
that's crazy
yeah.
because you said American, and that really the film really did feel like American culture. Like Cecily, like touring for 30 years. I'd seen all of these like I knew where it was set, and it definitely has that like. Is Americana even like the right word?
I use it just in terms of like sort of historic America, like right where it feels like like what we were in the 20th century, like what America kind of looked like.
But your character, like me growing up as a cisgender male, I knew people like you.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the hero. Like this woman is the hero. Or even like the non-binary or trans characters, like those are the heroes. I knew that. I knew those people, and it so to me it felt very natural when I watched the film. Like, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, and I was like, I just want to make like a sex pot, like brown girl character, so that like young brown girls can like watch the movie and be like, that's my cult icon. Like that's the Bridget Bardot for like girls who look like me, who don't get that kind of representation of just like getting to be like a free, liberated, fun character that doesn't have to also talk about her racial identity or her, sexuality or anything. She just gets to like exist and be fun and playful and hot. And
you don't really address race or sexual identity in the film, like it's not like blah. But it's there, but it's not.
It's
like,
there.
It's not
Well, that's also just because I think that kind of like PSA writing is so boring, where it's like, look, just weave it in.
The
like,
subversiveness is definitely gonna make
just like put it on the screen, and then you don't have to talk about it because you're just like, we're already seeing it at play. But so that was like very important for me writing it, is just like, we need to have this representation where like young girls who are not white can like watch this movie and feel like they have something to point to as like, that's me. Like, that's my representation. We're hot, we're cool, we're liberated, we're like allowed to exist and take up this space. And we don't just have to be doctors and, nurses or whatever. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or like the children of immigrants or something.
But it's funny because like a lot of like the sort of white characters in the film are the ones that you're just like, fuck them.
I
but
know.
Not necessarily fuck them, but
well, I tried to make all like the male, so there's a lot of like male clients, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of this is just like inspired from my life.
Clients, right?
They're all there's like the couple at the party, but but they're all kind of like archetypes of,
that's crazy too, because fuck, people aren't gonna be able to see this, but they're like the bourgeois element of that couple is just as grating as like white culture.
Yeah. And I think that like I wanted to capture as many vignettes of like what this life is like and what the clients are like, and sort of all the different archetypes that you see and that you interact with, because you kind of hit like there's so many sameness in the type of archetypes, whether you're dating men or seeing them as clients or whatever. And I just think that like I was like, I think they all have to be white, because I think it's a little confusing in this structure to try to like diversify it fully. But I think that like really that's the other like statement we're talking about.
Putting it on the screen and not
But that's like that was like definitely a mission of mine, is like, how can I include as many archetypes of these men, where you have the savior, you have the negotiator, you have the like submissive, you have
the guy in the liquor store.
Oh my gosh, you have the like creepy, like weird, like tone deaf ones, and then at the end, of course, you have the kind of the one that you might accidentally fall in love with, who's actually a psychopath, because why is he paying for this? Because he's probably crazy, and
he's also on house arrest.
He's like
he's got to pay for it because no one else can't go find it.
And his dick doesn't work, so and it's a problem.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've also never seen a movie that tackled a scene where a man just like has like erectile dysfunction and just like throws a tantrum at the girl. Where like so many women see that and are like, I identify so much with that scene, and I'm like, I know. That's funny. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, in positions.
Yes.
Too, but not to that extent though. But I thought that was great with that one too. But yeah.
He has erectile dysfunction. Some sort. Yeah.
He's just like
Seems
a
like
little
half
virgin pussy.
Yeah.
No, but he can only get half hard.
Yeah. That might be.
Yeah, but you're meant to feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
And in my movie, it's like not my problem.
Yeah. Also, I think it's cool because maybe that's another subversive element where you're stripping away the masculinity and being like, yeah, that shit is irrelevant now. Or we're going to make it irrelevant.
Also, I think that like one thing I really love to explore, and there's a lot of like intimacy in the movie, and there actually isn't there's not like explicit sex in my film. It's actually very tame. Like there's no real nudity. You know, it's more implied sex scenes, but the intimacy that I really love is actually the like weird, absurdist, like insecure moments, either after sex or before sex, when you're still kind of like figuring out what's about to happen, or, you know, a moment's happened and maybe you're feeling embarrassed that you came too fast or that you look ugly or that like.
Are you talking about the one client that's
Robert? There's a scene like with that one where he's sort of like insecure, and I think the same happens kind of like at the end of the film where there's a lot of intimacy in these like moments that are actually vulnerable, where you're like, I've just been naked with you and like I'm embarrassed about maybe my performance, or like did I stand up enough as a man? And you know, having just dated a lot of men and been in situations like that, I feel like that's so much more common than just like a hot sex scene, like, you know.
Because that doesn't really exist.
Yeah. Because then you're like, okay, but what about after, when they're laying there and their dick is all soft on their thigh and they're shriveled up and you're just kind of like getting a rag and you're like, this is actually
the like non-hot part.
Yes, but that's actually more like vulnerable and intimate, because that's the moment when you're like, do we still like each other?
Yeah.
Are you still into me?
I think it's cool that you tackle the dialogue of sex workers, but on an empathetic way. I think it's important, and I think there's a change. Obviously out of America, but in America I feel like people are kind of becoming more aware of it and like understanding it.
Well, I mean, with the introduction of OnlyFans, like the amount of women who do sex work is like through the roof.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. I think that it's like cool to destigmatize it. I think it's like we definitely need to decriminalize it in America. But I also just think like there are more women that do sex work than probably people realize. And it's like a symptom of the world that we're living in, where we need all these side hustles and we need all this like extra income, because like what we're able to make on a job is just like not sustainable, right?
The inequality is insane.
And so I think that like, you know, there's like an interesting conversation to be had, which is like, this isn't about good or bad. Like, this is just a reality. And like, let's look at like why this is a reality, because I think that like it's empowering. I think that it's like a great way to make money and to take money from rich men. I think that's amazing, to like steal from the rich, basically. It's like Robin Hood. But, you know, I also think like if we were able to pay wages that people could live on, we wouldn't necessarily like be in this situation where like being a sugar baby or being on OnlyFans or being a content creator or, you know, having a, you know, doing like escorting was like a thing that like people didn't like necessarily have to do.
Yeah.
And
it's like, do you want to, no offense to Walmart greeters, but do you want to fucking be a Walmart greeter,
right,
or just go do this other shit?
Yeah.
And
where you can make a lot more money really fast, much easier schedule to manage. And I just think that like we're living in this reality, whether the Republicans like it or not, where because we have basically, you know, ruined our middle class and we don't pay people what they're worth, that like this is just a thing that people do now to make money. And
which they've been doing.
Which they've been doing.
You said there's OnlyFans, which is a thing.
Which I think, like, when OnlyFans came into the picture, it, like, basically created that was, like, the first big platform. There's many platforms. But I think it made it more accessible for people to just, like, fuck it. I'll just, like, get on OnlyFans and I'll make content and, like, this can be my income and I'll make more money doing this than a shit waitress job.
Yeah.
And that's empowering, and I think that's cool because it is giving a lot of power back to women and a lot of power back to sex workers. And I just think that, like, we have to, like, move past this idea of, like, oh, they're just, like, the girls leaning into your car on the street. Like, we're everywhere, and, like, there's so much, like, versions of this. Like, the umbrella is so big of, like, what constitutes this work and this labor. And I think that, like, we just need to recognize that, like, this is more prevalent than maybe people want to think it is. And it kind of just, like, sucks that, like, our society has got to this place where, you know, getting a regular job or, you know, getting out of college and getting a job is just, like, not a reality anymore.
Jobs
because you have to. Right. So
the capitalist system that we're submerged in is intertwined with patriarchy.
Yes.
And
yes.
All kinds of other oppressive forces that all, even like religion and stuff too, it all comes down, it all has patriarchy.
Totally. And I think that, like, in that way, like, as a woman, getting a job out of school or getting work is that much harder. So, like, women are at a disadvantage where they're, like, the opportunities for me and trans women are, like, that much more limited. The, like, pay is not the same as men. And so we're fucking hustlers and, like, smart, and you have all these looks and you have all these things that, like, you can monetize. And so we're literally living in this, like, late capitalism dystopia where you're like, fuck, I guess I'll just, like, use what I have to get ahead or to keep myself afloat because I can. And that's kind of, like, an edge that I do think is, like, cool and is like a power. But, you know, I'm also like, would I rather just, like, make money being a writer and a director? Like, yes, of course. Like, that's my skill. That's what my brain, like, that's, like, using my brain to, like, to maximize my abilities. However, like, I've also, like, learned all these survival skills of, like, how to, like, you know, get ahead in life. And I think that, like, women inherently, like, learn all those skills because that's how they exist in spaces that are, like, mostly male dominated, or that's how they, like, learn to, like, basically survive, is, like, I can be flirtatious, or I can be cute, or I can be sweet, or I can, like, placate, or I can play this guy a little bit, or I can kind of manipulate the situation to, like, get, like, as a strategy to get what I actually want out of it. It's survival. Yeah. And I think that, like, a lot of men don't necessarily have to do that because there's just, like, so much privilege that's, like, inherent to their existence that as a woman you have to, like, generate all of these, like, skills to just, like, be likable and you know.
Well, there's two things because even, like, the gender thing is real, and I'm not arguing that, but, like, I know, like, a lot of people are, like, trip out on me. They're like, how do you afford to live doing that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I am on EBT, and, like, I occasionally will scam some shit or whatever, you know. But I don't also have the gender. I'm also not having that conflict of, like, battling patriarchy, you know. But I think so, like, a lot of it does come down to class because you think about, like, just poor people, even poor white people. It's like
it's all about class struggle.
It is.
It's always class struggle.
And the thing that's fucked up is they're taught to hate downwards. And that's crazy to think about it.
Well, that's, like, part of their plan, right? This is, like, when they freed the slaves and, like, poor Black people in the South and poor white people in the South started creating bonds over basically, like, both being fucked by, you know, their bosses, you know. They basically, like, created Jim Crow, and they created all of these narratives to like separate it. And I think that's, like, still so ingrained in our culture is this, like, It's like what we're doing right now with ICE, right? Where we've like made the new scapegoat is like this like concept of like an illegal person, where you're like, that's the real problem. It's all a distraction, because if we collectively really begin to realize that it's class, that it's actually the billionaires and the oligarchs, they're fucked. So
or the fact that like the immigrants they're all paying taxes.
They're all paying taxes.
And the church isn't paying taxes.
Exactly.
Like, there's a lot of shit.
Yeah, the church isn't paying taxes. Billionaires aren't paying taxes. Corporations aren't paying tax. Like they're all like moving their money up. It's like all like, you know, moving cups to like distract the actual low class and middle class from who the actual problem is. And, you know, I think that like, I think it's sad, because I think so many people vote against their own interests because of their like brainwashing and their like fear mongering.
I mean, look at right now. People are like, fuck, I voted for Trump. I can't believe it. It's like, the whole system, the two-party system is bullshit.
Yes.
But it's like
they're all taking money from the same corporation. So none of them are interested in actually governing the people anymore. They're just interested in their like special interests, like lobby groups that they're like taking money from. And it's like, and it's insane that like we have a government for the people, but it's like really for the corporations, and they're like married to capitalism in this like way where they're like, let's privatize everything. Where you're like, is that really beneficial though for the people? Or like, is that like your bottom line, your like shareholders? Like, who is this actually good for? Because I don't think we need to do that. Look at like Europe.
Completely. And the ignorance behind like what actually socialism is. You know, you have all these people
the
right,
McCarthy era really did a number on this country, and we're still living in this like the like fear propaganda from the 50s. And it's
like even Reagan
is oh my god. Reagan is like that was the moment we started to really decline, because they were like the New Deal. I grew up helping all these people get jobs out of the Great Depression. Like that's socialism. That was socialism.
I mean, we see it, and a lot of people on the right are kind of like, wait a minute, like that's, you know, like Medicaid is socialism, you know?
Yes.
You know, fucking public education is socialism.
Yes. So your libraries are your public parks.
Well, maybe they don't care about that stuff.
But it's still just like culture, like caring about culture is important, and we've like basically tried to privatize everything where there is no culture anymore, and making art is like almost impossible. And
I think art stops at like having a gold-plated toilet or fucking gold shoes or whatever the hell, like like just shitty like used car salesman crap.
Yes.
I mean, it's not to riff on that stuff, but it's like even like looking at like the Cybertruck, like those things just falling apart. It's like everyone thought it was like this
the shitification,
and it's like garbage underneath.
we call it the shitification. We're living through the shitification era.
We just talked about that.
The shitification.
The shitification. It's like you try and call a business and you're talking to a robot. And you're like, you try to like buy something and you can't. It's like you can't deal with a person, and the quality is down, and like people that work at companies hate the company, so they're not even like trying to help. Like no one is happy, and everything is shit. So we're living through the shitification era of capitalism right now, which is like, and
you're feeling it as a director and an actress.
And I also think that's what like Trash Town in my movie is. You know, like the movie set in Trash Town, and it's like funny because people are like, wow, the world of the movie, I loved the world, like I want to go there, and I'm just like, we're there, babe, like we're in Trash Town.
But there is like, I mean, because we talked about this before this podcast, where like I was like, oh, New Orleans is such a great place. I only visit there, you know. I do visit there. It's like for 1 or 2 days on tour. But I love it, and so when I watched it, I was like, oh, that's just a special place. Do I want to live there? No, but it is a special place, and it has a very unique, like we talked about Quintron and Miss Pussycat, like that kind of I played a show at the Spellcaster Lounge, which is their spot, and I guarantee you, no one came because it was my band, but everyone came, and there was like a fucking circus. And we weren't even like, it's like the whole place was full of like insane shit, and
there is like an amazing art scene and just culture of like creation that's very DIY,
but
that exists there. That's really cool.
But I think that stuff comes from nothing.
Yes.
Which is really, really beautiful in itself. And
Yeah.
I think that the film shows that, and I think that you tapped into that. Maybe maybe you knew it, but like I think that you tapped into it because it just shows in the film the amount of artistic intellect that I think a lot of people take for granted.
I also think like there's something just like beautiful about the decay that we're experiencing. And like one of the showpieces of my movie is this giant oil refinery that's in Norco, which is like outside of New Orleans. And we filmed a lot around Norco and Laplace, which are right nearby each other. And Norco has this like giant oil refinery and it's lit up like the Emerald City. And I was like, that should be the city skyline of Trash Town. Like it isn't buildings. It's like these weird oil refineries where there's like fire coming out of the, where
Total
you're
like Mad Max shit.
Totally. Where you're just like, what is this like sparkly, weird, like industrial thing? And I think that like, that is in New Jersey. It's like in California. Yeah, it's on the PCH. Yeah, when you drive.
Seems like that's the end of the world.
Yeah. And I think that like that was something that is this like part of the landscape of America that you don't really get to see a lot, but that is so familiar to Americans because we grew up seeing these like random places everywhere. And sort of like centering this fictional town around a refinery as like their city center is like really cool and funny because it is this like thing that we all are familiar to, but like we don't really ever see in cinema. And then lensing it as this like kind of magical like thing that they're driving by, even though in reality it's like a toxic like pollution thing that's like ruining the water and like giving people cancer. It's like it is this like poisonous like industry. But I do think that there's something about Trash Town and this like decay of America where we were able to like lens these like little pockets that we found around Louisiana in a way that made people feel like, wow, it's so magical and dreamy. And I'm like, this is just where we live. Like you just like go outside and it's right there. Yeah, we've just like made it look kind of like sparkly in the movie, but actually it's like this is just our reality.
But sparkly is a weird way to look at it because
that's like I think it's
no. I'm saying like for like the outsider. Let's just say the billionaire to look at it, like, it's beautiful and sparkly. It's like, no, it's life and like sparkly and beautiful is everywhere, including in the dumps and the trash and the slums.
Yeah.
It's just when you're a fuckhead and you can't acknowledge that and you need like the shiny new everything all the time.
Yeah.
You kind of have the inability to appreciate simple things.
Totally.
Or like the sparkle is like the mask.
It's like this like her rose-colored glasses is like how she's able to look around at like the dystopia shitified America and see it as this like lush beautiful space, and like we get to like let the audience sort of see through her perspective the magic that is just kind of like wasteland.
Okay, and then so there's the scene where the hot trans character goes to do the sex work with the film star guy, and he's an artist and all of his art that he's showing is just garbage.
It's stupid.
And I'm like, that is like, because I feel like when you have the ability to just be like, I'm super rich and my art is blah,
I can be like whatever I want. When you have a whole marketing team that you can pay for, like you'll be successful. Well, it's also like, I lived in New York and I feel like there's such a big boys club in the art scene. And I think it's like a circle jerk.
So.
Yeah, it's everywhere. But I think that there's something like especially funny and that I like to poke fun at, which is the like, which is like the like narcissistic like male artist that's so up his own ass he can't even see how bad his art is.
It's
and
insanely bad in the movie.
It's so bad. And like they feel very deep and very confident. And yet me as an artist, like I'm so insecure and I feel so like nervous. And like, even when we do our screenings, I'm like, I can't even watch because I'm so nervous about how people are going to react to it. And I have so much anxiety around just like an imposter syndrome around like, am I really a director? Can I really do this? Like so many, back to privilege, so many like cis, white men just don't have any like shame. They're just so like confident in whatever they're doing that they've never like thought like, am I actually good at this? Like they just are like
automatically.
Yeah, they're just like, of course I can be a director. Of course I can be an artist.
So easy.
Yeah.
From a cisgender white male perspective, I constantly think everything I do or that we do sucks.
Yeah,
and
well, that's a good place to start. Right?
I do think, because I think that like, yeah, well, who gives a fuck like what I did? Who cares?
Yeah.
I will say this: your film is brilliant, and fun. And I'm not.
I wasn't fishing for
No.
I'm just like
I'm not trying to suck your dick. I'm just saying like, it's when I watched it, I was like, there was like level upon level of like. And okay, again, like I could say this by myself, and I did in my own brain. There's all these levels of genius on it. I'm like, fuck. And even talking about it, like we're acknowledging there are all these like elements that you just stacked up shit that's like really, really important and good and thought out, or even not thought out and subversive, all that stuff. Where I think that you have a lot of the other side, where it's just people farting out stuff, and they have this marketing team to be like, I'm gonna be fucking cool and great, and blah, and it's not.
Yeah. And I think that, like, you know, as a filmmaker, as a first-time filmmaker, you know, this movie's taken me 8 years to make.
That in itself is fucked up.
Yeah.
First time.
Like, it looks so.
But it's sort of
on film.
And I shot it on film. But I also think, like, you know, being a female director, it's like really hard to be taken seriously. And in order to make another movie, you're like, my first movie has to be like an A+ movie. Yeah. And I really like internalized basically like the stakes of like, this is my introduction to the world. I need to fucking nail it. I can't skimp on any corner. So cinematography, art, color palette, acting, locations, music, like every single department has to be on point so that the whole thing can like land, because I don't have the privilege of just like phoning it in or just farting something out and like calling it a movie,
or just being like, I'm gonna skimp on this scene.
Totally, like I'll figure it out on the day. So I, you know,
in editing.
Yeah, and we spent, you know, I spent 2 years really developing the script, and then, you know, we started getting our initial financing, and then I spent like basically 3 years like sharpening the script and then like planning the shit out of the movie, where it's like I'm building like different art boards for the production design, for the wardrobe, for the color palette, for the locations, for, you know, my cinematographer and I shot listed and then test shot the whole movie on a camcorder, because we knew we were going to shoot on film. So we were like, we have to know all of our shots, how many takes we're going to do, how much film we're going to need, so that we like can plan everything to a T. So when you're there on set on the day and everything goes wrong, I already know the answer to every question. So all I'm doing is like problem solving and like compromising and like pivoting, but I already have like my plan. So there's no question about like what I need or what I want or what, you know, what color that should be or what the curtain should look like. I'm already like, it needs to, like, I already know all of that. Yeah. And so I think that like that type of prep is so valuable for filmmakers, and just, you know, you can prep forever. Like there's, you know, you can prep your movie until the cows come home, and it will only help you, because if you're on set and let's figure out what shot we want. Like if you're in that world, you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting all of like everyone being there. So I was so cognizant, first of all, being my first movie, I was like on set, I need to know the answer to everything. I can't let my crew ever see me falter or not be sure. And also because I'm acting in it, I won't have the bandwidth to like make big decisions. Like I'm going to have to like know everything up front, so I can just like fire off this, you know, whatever it is, like take that down, move that there. We're, you know, like framing it this, like whatever it is. And I can just then like focus on acting and directing my actors and just like checking the frame to make sure everything's like looking how we planned it to. And I think that like the result is that what's on the screen in the end feels like every frame, like our mission, which is very cliche, we were like every frame a painting, like every single frame needs to look and feel like a moving painting, and should have life and should have texture and color and like all kind, you know, really decision making behind it. And so it isn't just like coverage or, you know, like whatever set with IKEA furniture, that everything feels planned and specific. And so I just can't stress how much planning and prep is like your friend in that regard, because you can always prep, you can always plan, and that's something that you can always be doing as a filmmaker. And you know, I've been on a lot of movies where I didn't see a lot of that, and I think it shows in the results, because it just is kind of, you know, it's kind of like mediocre. It's kind of, you know, it feels like the same as everything else. Not to be like a shit talker, but
how long did it take to shoot?
So we shot over the course of a year. We got to Louisiana, and then there was a really massive Hurricane Ida, hit right when we were planning to shoot that fall. And so we had to push our schedule into January, February of 2022. And then we shot interiors, and then we had like a lot of COVID, we had Mardi Gras, we had a lot of extenuating factors. So then we had to build out a second unit for us to pick up some of the exteriors that we didn't get. And then when we cast Big Frida, her like dates were just crazy. And then we had to shoot her like in her own unit in like August of 2022. And we'd also shot B-roll in the fall of 2021. So I was like in New Orleans for a full year. But that's actually another thing that like for indie filmmakers, you know, I'm very impatient. Like, I'm like, let's just get it done. Like, I don't want to keep waiting around. But there was actually a lot of blessing in like having multiple units, because I could watch the footage. I could see, okay, I need to get a pickup shot here. I need to get something for this. Like, I need to just get a pickup of this. So I could build in like insert shots into some of our other units to just like get extra things that I could just see, like, I think we should just get something. I think this scene might need like an extra oomph or something. So it gave us time to like also assess what we had and like fill in where we needed to. But yeah, no director wants to be in production and in principal photography for a full year.
Especially there.
Yeah.
Especially in New Orleans.
I love it there too, except for the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a full year, you know, it's also just like it's like you're living out of a suitcase for a year, you know. You're like kind of homeless.
But I think maybe the fact that you are an actress and a hustler and not fully aware and coherent with how fucked up this world is,
yeah,
you were able to execute it flawlessly.
Yeah, and my producer is like also very key. Like he and I worked so closely for 6 years on the vision, on all the ideas, on the locations and the look, and nailing, like making sure the cops were the right kind of leather daddy cop, making sure the donut shop was the exact, you know, like really nailing everything. And, you know, you can't be a good director without a good producer. And like he really was like my champion for the vision and just for the quality of like he was the one that was like, we have to get the lenses to make it have this look, and we have to get the 16 to give it this look. And so I think that like that kind of combo, like if a director can have like a really solid creative producer, like that is the dream team to make everything look as like special and like, you know, really put the money on screen.
Special.
Special, yeah.
It really is. That's such a strange word.
And like handmade, but like just to feel that like sense of, ooh, the music's getting so experimental.
But yeah, you said DIY, and I think that term is overused, but I think that you have the knowledge of it, the actual legit knowledge of it, not like the Etsy knowledge, you know? So you can kind of like deliver that.
Well, yeah, because we didn't have a studio, we didn't have a production company, we didn't have any like fancy executive producers, we didn't have like celebrity casts. Like it was all like,
because you're not a white dude,
handmade, or I'm not like I'm not a tested artist, you know. This was my test, and like so, you know, like we were scouting the locations, like I was finding props, like there's this tanning bed in the movie, I like found that at a Goodwill. And I was just like, a pink tanning bed, like I gotta buy this right now, it's $50, like we gotta get a truck and move it, you know. Like I was finding pieces for the movie, or like different like hero things. I was like, this is the curtain, or like the folding thing in her bedroom that she should, you know, like I would be pulling those things myself And
also no one's gonna see this film yet, but when she's behind the curtain thing and her room is outside, even when she goes behind it's muffled. And I'm like, what the fuck? That little element was like brilliant.
The little like camp like cartoon comedy.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the other thing I really miss in cinema, and like we can talk about this, is like just the irreverence. You know, like I think cinema and like studio movies have gotten so self-serious. Like even like the superhero movies are like, we're superheroes.
Yeah, but that's just like garbage stuff.
Yeah, but like they used to be camp superhero, you know, like it used to be a little bit more like wink nod, like I'm Batman and I'm, you know what I mean? And now it's become so like we're saving the world, and you're like, you're in a cape. Like
maybe on that major scale, like Wes Anderson is able to do it.
Like have a little bit of that playfulness and like irreverence to like
there's like detail and like this little tiny nugget is great, and no one else, you know, fucking whoever Marvel wouldn't care because they'll just CGI the shit out of it and call it a day.
But also I think like Marvel, like even watching like campy action movies from the 80s, like Point Break, it's kind of silly. You know, even though it's like funny and serious, it's like they're jumping out of a plane and like fighting in the sky. Like there's an element that's kind of like funny camp, even though it's still like a serious action movie. And I feel like cinema has like lost a little bit of its like playfulness in like, it's a movie. Like we're watching a movie. Like we can have a funny little moment like where she changes, and it's like, you know, we can build in these little quirks that kind of make it still feel like silly. I don't know. I have like a Gen Z friend, and I recently just showed her Rock and Roll High School, and she was just like, this is my kind of movie. This is what I love. And I'm just like, this is just how like movies used to be, where there's just like gags and like bits and like funny teachers and like all of it's just like silly and like playful. And it's never really that self-serious about itself. And I think that like that's some like a thing in cinema that I really miss, is the like
there's a nuance to it though, because when people try to do it now, it seems campy.
It's like too broad.
Yeah,
they're not like just playing for like the comedy's hard. Comedy takes a lot of planning, actually.
But the fact, you think your movie's a comedy?
My movie's a comedy.
Because I feel like it's too like highbrow for like. I mean, it's comedic.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be like, that's the genre comedy.
I think it's maybe like a dark comedy, like or maybe like
genres, but
like a satire comedy. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I understand. I don't like genre.
Because when you say it's a comedy, you automatically like cut out all of the other like
the depth.
Intellect.
Yeah. That stuff I'm hoping will just like wash into people's subconscious, and then they'll like understand it later. But I think on the surface, I think that this is also like a misdirect. This is like a fun misdirect where we're like, it's a fun romp, it's a fun adventure movie, but actually it's this like tragic story.
Completely.
You know, and like that's like the twist, is that actually like these are real people with real feelings, and like hopefully you fall in love with them.
People are going to. I saw it. I identified with so many characters and like little elements. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I want to like feel it. Like, you know, in my brain or my heart or whatever.
Yeah, we should get you a cowboy hat, like a red cowboy hat, and then I want people to like dress up as the characters and like come to screenings and like be like Rocky Horror, like where they're just like they get to like make the movie their own thing and like have their own culture and community around like Trash Town and like the world, and like coming dressing like a little slut or dressing like a little cowboy or you know, whoever they identify with, a cleaning person.
I think that's a great idea, but I also trip out on like how people like you said, dressing like a little slut, and like how like Halloween, like I'm gonna dress like a slut, and like I think people should just dress like sluts every day. And like I think you should just dress like a weirdo every day. And have that be your life.
Like it's okay to dress like a slut.
Like you should go to the grocery store looking like a slut.
Who cares?
Cool.
They look cool. What do you think, Luke? Would you dress like a slut?
Yeah. Go get gas. I need to go get gas.
It's such a
dress like a slut.
Totally. It's such an interesting thing, because when I see someone like, I don't want to use the word slut because I think a lot of people might be offended by that. But when
because it has like a negative connotation. We're using it in a positive way.
Air quotes. When I see someone that looks like a slut, I want to tell them like, you know, I don't want to be like, you look hot, or like, ugh. I want to say like, you look fucking cool.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I like the fact that you look cool.
Yeah.
And like, I'll leave it at that. And
yeah.
like, blah,
maybe
whatever.
just like, I love your outfit.
Completely.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Instead of, so I don't seem like creepy. I'm like, I love your outfit. And then they're like, I love yours. And then I feel like girls can connect with each other. That's the other thing. Like, I really wanted my film to also have like all the women are like friends.
Oh yeah.
You know, where there's not like this like girl competition where they all get to just be like I see you, like yes queen, like we're all hustling, we're all in this together. And you know, that's like my hope for the future is that like we can like women can get rid of their internalized misogyny and like embrace each other, because like that's part of the like keeping us apart. They're like doing that to keep us in competition, and it's like it's not a competition.
But patriarchy is like embedded in humanity's DNA now at this point. It's like good luck getting that out.
Totally. It's a job. That's what my Gen Z friend also taught me. She was the one who was like, I'm dismantling my internalized misogyny. And I was just like, whoa, I've never even thought about doing that. And I should totally do that.
You're acknowledging it, and you did it in your film. And I think that's important.
Yeah. So even now, whenever I have like a bad thought about like a woman, I have to check myself and be like, actually, yes, queen, like I'm actually your fan, and like I love what you're doing, and like even if I don't get it, you're being yourself, and like that's fucking cool. Even if like I have that like knee-jerk internalized moment of being like, who does she think, whatever it is, I have to check myself. And my Gen Z friend taught me that, and then I was like, you know what, I like this generation.
That's cool.
I was hating on them until that moment, and then I was like, you've converted me. You're fucking sick. You know?
That's fucking rad. Shout out to Gen Z.
Shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, they're gonna help us save. They're gonna help us save culture.
Someone needs to fucking do it. It's not these old assholes that are.
It's definitely not the boomers. Gen X is also kind of disappointing me. Some of them are getting a little too red pilled. Because I'm like, weren't you guys punk? Right? Wasn't Gen X like the punk ones?
I mean.
And then some of them are becoming like red pilled a little bit.
I think everybody's becoming red pilled. I mean, there's like it's
really like a slippery slope.
There's some younger people that are a little bit up their own asses.
Younger people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're hating on Gen Z again.
I know. No, I'm saying like let's hate on everybody. Let's just do that.
Or like
let's say
we're gonna yes queen them.
Yes queen everybody that's got their shit together, please.
Yeah. That's aligned with me, and then fuck everyone else.
Because I think that another thing too is again going back to your film, having the elements of humor are going to be able to let someone that maybe has their head up their ass be like, oh my gosh, maybe I don't need to hate trans people, and they can just be fucking cool about it.
Sorry, I just yelled in the mic. That's my hope. That they can actually just watch the movie and be like, this is a sick person. Like maybe I need to check my own transphobia. It's interesting. I think like especially how Sadie plays the character, I think is like so cool, so sexy, so funny, so understated that like it's mind-boggling to me that someone could watch their performance and like not like them because they're like transphobic. Like to me that's like
that will happen.
That's like really heartbreaking.
That will happen.
And I think the same can happen for my character if someone's like racist for whatever reason.
Or as a sex worker.
Or they're just like that's
that character.
And I think that like that is such a tragedy for them that like they
for them as the viewer
because I'm like your hate is like literally holding you back from just like actually like loving people who are not that fucking different than you. Because like I bet you don't have fucking health insurance. You know? But like that's like heartbreaking to me because I think like, you know, like being kind of other, like growing up kind of other in Tennessee, you know, not really being white, not really being anything else, you know, I identify still as like being an American and like being part of this culture. And it's like weird to remember like, oh yeah, some people are not going to see me like that. And like, that's such a weird mind fuck. And I think the same for Sadie, and it like breaks my heart for Sadie because I'm like, I think Sadie, especially in their portrayal, is just like so transcendent, like so beyond like what your perception is of like this group of people, and for you to like not be able to just like go on the ride with them and like fall in love with them is like your fucking loss. And like, man, and like hopefully they don't have kids that are trans, because like what a sad, I don't know,
I mean, maybe
where this
that,
ramble is going. I'm just like getting emotional about it.
Well, I'm glad that you're flying that flag. Or whatever, the torch or whatever you want to call it. I'm grateful for you and what your output
I mean,
is.
it's also like when we filmed the movie, you know, we were still in the Biden administration, which was still like whatever that was. But even since
half
like
pathetic, now we're full pathetic, I guess.
I mean, he was like still like his rainbow flag, but like still just like a piece of shit. But now we're like, when the movie came out, I couldn't have like predicted just like how regressive America would have gotten. Like in a way, like when I wrote the script, when we were casting the movie, when we were shooting the film, you know, I think when we were filming the movie, like Roe Wade was just like vetoed. And so that just felt like this like this like gut punch of like, really, like this is where we're going. And then for us to like now be at the place where we are with like trans rights, to then feel like how prescient this movie that like should be not like that, like it shouldn't be that political, but like now it is that political because of how regressive we are becoming. It's like sad, because it is just like you really can like track just like, damn, we're going downhill from where I was when I wrote the script, where like none of this even felt that crazy. It just felt like we're all moving in the right direction, kind of, you know.
I don't want to be a pessimist.
Be a
but I don't, but I am, but I don't. But I also am an optimist, because I think as fucked up and as negative as things are getting, I think that there is always going to be that undercurrent of progressive people who are just going to be like, all right, I fucking have had it.
Like, now we have to double down.
And shit will get done, you know?
And I think that, like, I really hope that it, like, paves the way for art to become more subversive, for art to be more political, for art to be less commercial and, like, content and, like, whatever is going on with that. And really can be more, like, we need to say something. Like, this needs to actually say something. This just can't be your, like, dream sequence, like, you know, fantasy or whatever the fuck. It needs to actually mean something, and like mean something for culture, because we do have to save culture, and we do have to like save people now, and like that's our job as like artists, or as just people making shit that's going to take up space. Like, we need to make sure that if we're taking up the space, we're like doing it for the greater good and for like the mission, and not just like to have a moment. I don't know.
I guarantee you people are going to
have like content or something.
I think people are going to see your film and feel, what is it, like, seen.
I hope so.
I really think
I really hope so. And I like tell people, like, when I see people who, like, girls, trans people, queer people, sex workers, I'm always just like, this is for you. Like, I made this for you. And like, that's like, there's a lot of men who don't like my film, and I'm like, yeah, it's not for you. Like, this is for them, you know?
You know that there's men that don't like it.
Yeah, because they're on Letterboxd, and they're like, I don't get it. It's not about anything. And I'm just like, it's just literally not about you.
But also, like, I would expect that.
Or I'm like, you're transphobic, and you're outing yourself as being a piece of shit.
Yeah, they insert themselves into your film.
Yeah, they're like, this isn't saying anything. I don't get what it's saying. And I'm like, wow.
I watched it, and I was like, it's saying all kinds of shit, you know?
Yeah, well, that's because you're like also engaged and like aware of like different perspectives existing.
I also don't need to go on Letterboxd and critique stuff, but I get it. You know?
Yeah.
It's like the comment section, and usually it's always like
it's
the
like
negative,
trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, and I'm sure
I'm like, at least there's trolling that's good, you know, but there's also just like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, and I think that like hopefully ultimately it'll get to the audience that it's made for, and it'll like inspire, and it'll like hope, and make it something that like people can rally around. But yeah, I think that there's also like a ton of men who see my film and don't have a positive reaction to it,
Then you
and
did
like
something right.
And it is a little bit like cool.
yeah, that's great.
Like, maybe you're just a gooner, and like you wanted there to be more tits and ass, and like we didn't deliver that for you for free.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we should maybe cut it here. But
Yeah.
I want to say one thing, because we talked about this, and I would like you to tell this story again about
Yeah.
your tattoo on your arm. So I
Yeah.
saw it in the film, and I was like, that shit's sick. Can you just explain what you're trying? But the things you accomplished with having that tattoo right there, and your delivery with people that question it, because it was.
Oh
brilliant.
yeah, so I have an ACAB tattoo, and it's in numbers, so it's 1312, and whenever like older people or like certain demographics of people are like, "What's your tattoo?" I'm always like, "Oh, it's my favorite Bible verse." And then
which is great. And
then,
there's
I'm
another-
like, yeah, the verse is all cops are bastards. And I've like never read the Bible, but like, I like grew up as an atheist, so like I don't fucking know. But it's always like it's like a silly like thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of adults who like really don't like that tattoo.
Yeah.
But I it's where I stand, and it's like where I'm at, and I think like more than ever we have the Gestapo out there like pulling like kidnapping people and like extraordinary renditioning people, and like. If you're like somehow like Blue Lives Matter, that is literally the American Nazi flag. Like we are living in it right now. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm anti-Nazi. Like that's where I'm at.
That's great.
I know, like really realizing that the blue stripe flag is America's Nazi flag is like revelatory. Because that's like literally what it's become.
Of course.
Or like the weird Punisher skull.
Oh, yeah,
flag,
yeah.
Where you're like, this is like a contradict. Like, what is even going on here? But yeah, it's dark.
Yeah.
And people are brainwashed.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
And we're back. Fucktoys.
There it is.
Fucking great movie.
Yeah. Again, you should try to figure out how to see this movie. It is sort of frustrating because they're not out yet, and we're just trying to push you all to go and check out something that's amazing that you can't.
You'll love it when you see it.
When it comes out, it'll really make a dent, I think. So thank you to Annapurna, thank you to Oak Cliff Film Festival, thank you to all of our sponsors, thank you to you, the viewer or listener.
Andy, Becky, Earthquaker, all of y'all.
Yeah, Kindred, what's up, everybody? Yeah, we appreciate you, and we will see you on the next episode.
Hey.
Cult and Culture is a Ruinous Media podcast proudly sponsored by Earthquaker Devices, Heartwork Coffee, Diodario, Kindred, Smashed Plastic Record Pressing, and San Diego Food Shed.
Planet B.